offensive foul. He had 9 the other night. Brunson gets inside, trying to draw contact, and he does.
Okay, so we've got to talk about what Brunson is doing here that is getting people so upset. He's getting to the basket quickly, the defender ends up on his side or behind him, and he pulls up into contact for free throws. There are lots of folks saying this isn't basketball. These are unnatural moves. He's foul baiting. But I think there are a couple of things he's doing that are throwing people off, and without a trained eye, you might miss him. First, he gathers on the one. The traditional drive is usually a gather 1-2 into a layup or floater. This is how everyone is taught from the earliest ages onward. The problem is, the defense is also very familiar with this cadence and more easily times their jump to avoid contact and contest into a block or a miss. What Brunson is doing is next level footwork and ball manipulation. The first thing is when he gathers the ball, notice that both hands touch the ball at the same time as his jumping foot plants. He actually could take another illegal step if he wanted to. This throws off the defender's timing when trying to block the shot. Here's another example of both feet. He delays his gather until the right foot plants, and now the ball has to quickly get up and out to time with his jump, leaving Embiid unaware and stuck to the floor. Another even more subtle thing is that when the last foot plants to go into the jump, he immediately gets up into the air. It's very common to see a player's knee bend a little bit more on that foot plant before the legs go into triple extension for the jump. But Brunson is so springy with his jump that he's up and to his set point to release before the defense can properly react. The more common thing we'll see is when players plant their jumping foot, you'll see a few frames before the knee begins to straighten into the jump. This slight delay is crucial when we're talking about athletes in the NBA. Now that we figured out why Brunson is so difficult to guard, let's get back into these two plays that had people royally upset on Twitter. This one has all sorts of funkiness, primarily because the head contact with Oubre has people assuming Brunson jumps backwards into him. However, upon closer inspection, you see the foolish reach-in by Oubre, which puts his head in a position above the shorter Brunson's head. Now, Brunson definitely leans to his right to cut Oubre off. This is standard driving procedure to keep your defender behind you. And from this angle, you can see how he's immediately moving straight upwards when the left foot plants. It's Oubre drifting into him for the awful headbutt. But despite receiving the blow, the foul is clearly on him. And here's the one that really went viral, where he utilizes a nice retreat gallop to explode towards the hoop and get Batum in a terrible defensive position. He gazes back at Batum to figure out where he's going, which was to try and get around the outside to get back in front. Now, gazing backwards to see where your man is a good thing. Court vision is supreme, but many people thought this was a sign that he's just trying to jump into his man. However, here are a couple of other plays where he glances back to see where the defender is, not because he's planning on drawing a foul, but because he needs to know where his man is to plan his next attack to the rim. Plus, the refs let so much physicality go, Brunson knew full well from the middle of Game 1 onwards that he certainly could not risk getting himself into the air and assume the whistle was going to blow. I admire the fact that despite a lot of 50-50 drives that could have been called fouls and weren't, he didn't complain one bit. And there were instances like this one where he does seem to try and jump into the defender and the refs did not give him the foul. Just continue to play his game while ignoring and finishing through the contact. There's another headbutt on this one, unfortunately, but again it's because Batum has run up on Brunson's back and has his nose in front of his toes. Brunson again clearly jumps straight up into a jump shot, his head whiplashing back because of the contact, not to try and deceive anybody, and there's so much contact, the refs couldn't let it go. Oh, and Batum also grabs Brunson's jersey and pulls on it, which could have influenced Brunson in a backwards direction, but had this been detected, it should have been an automatic foul anyway. These playoff games are going to be absolutely epic, and the best place to watch is in the arena, so download the SeatGeek app and get the best choice of seats from all around the internet in one place. It's incredibly easy to get the tickets right to your phone, they're guaranteed, and if you use my code BBALL10, you'll get 10% off of any number of purchases. The seats I got for you two in the Sphere from SeatGeek were amazing, and I'm so thankful I can use them for all my ticketing needs to any sporting event, concert, or the theater. I had to bring an NBA referee on the show to better explain how this play unfolded. Ronnie Nunn refereed in the NBA for 19 years and was director of officials for 5 more. Okay, so Ronnie, thank you so much for being here. We really need some help here from someone with your amount of experience. Can you help us walk us through? A lot of people are really upset about this play and why they think it was some sort of a offensive foul or shouldn't be called. How do the rules work and how should it be working on this play?
Well, let me put my glasses on so I don't miss anything that our fans can see and I didn't see. But the bottom line here is this is a really very smart and wise luring play by Brunson. What he does is first thing we must remember, he beats his defender. So just basketball wise, it's incumbent upon defenders to know how to kind of catch up to him. The problem is, as he goes to catch up to him, Brunson has clearly made his new path in front of the defender who's trying to catch up with him. And guess what? He does it in a fairly timely fashion. And this play created a bump by Platoon into Brunson as Brunson goes up. So this is one of the two plays I saw in this game that was well done and, by the way, legal in my view.
So do you see any notion of Jalen Brunson jumping backwards into Batum?
He actually goes, when you stop the film at the point of contact, he actually goes straight up, and actually the bump by Batum actually propels him forward. So there's never an arched back to look for somebody and try to lure a foul. But in this timing scenario, he's on an upward motion, and it's incumbent upon Batum to recognize that he should not have followed him in that manner.
Watch the contact on this next play closely. The highlighted dribbler, Jalen Brunson, drives toward the paint, and we can see that he does not veer off his path in any way. Instead, it is the trailing defender, Jamal Murray, who continues moving forward, and he moves into Brunson's path without establishing legal guarding position, and Murray makes more than marginal contact with Brunson. As the replays show, the contact on this play was clearly initiated by the trailing defender and was correctly ruled a defensive foul.
So rather than believe Brunson is trying to foul bait, I hope this video helped explain why his skill level is so high that he's been able to use change of pace and deception better than most guards in the NBA. He's not hunting the contact, he's playing through it, and he's certainly not getting rewarded much the few times he overtly does try and jump into his defender. So keep your eye on how the Pacers will deal with him and his aggressiveness. The answer should be to double him and get it out of his hands, something the Sixers couldn't solve.